Worst field trip ever. Oh. Teardrop is a Tubi original from director Stephen R. Monroe, who did the remakes of I Spit on Your Grave, I Spit on Your Grave 2, Electric Gravedigger Boogaloo. That would have actually been kind of hilarious if Gravedigger had ended up being the killer. How they would have been able to pull that off, I don't know. Remake it and make it bonkers. The Asylum people furiously taking notes. He also did some Hallmark-type romance movies in The Exorcism of Molly Hartley. Oh boy, there's something I need to re-fucking watch, to re-fucking rip apart, because it was so fucking bad in every conceivable aspect. Woo! He also directed another Tubi original called Unborn that had the infamous line that somebody got paid to write. Are you trying to tell me that you won't let me feel our baby kick because you think your uterus is haunted? Again, somebody got paid to write that. Somebody got paid to film it. Somebody got paid to say it. I don't know what they got paid, but you couldn't pay me enough to say something like that. That's why I just do this shit for fucking fun. Whoo, boy, this isn't about haunted uteruses or uteri or uteri. No, this is not even about haunted popery. Now I demand to see that. This is set in the old Minor with an E, not Minor with an O, even though there were a few implications, some stuff like that might have fucking happened. Don't fucking do that to kids, you sick fucking freaks. No, it used to be a gold rush town. There's gold and then there are hills and also ghosts around town. Eventually. Kinda. Sorta. A teacher named Chris gets the bright fucking idea to take his young authors club and a young teacher assistant that, or is possibly trying to become a teacher named Rebecca that he fancies, and she fancies him so much she don't even know. They're in the fast lane from LA to Tokyo. On no other, wrestling and movie review channel are you just going to get a random Charlie XCX reference for no goddamn fucking reason. Anyway, yeah, set in the town of Teardrop, population was 78, and the town's pretty much been abandoned except for, one particular guy named Denver. And, yeah, Denver, like the capital of Colorado. So, yeah. Teacher gets a bright idea to take a young authors club there. 3 students and that teacher's assistant that I mentioned before. Man, that's a really small goddamn club. I don't understand how any of these students made it into this club because they don't seem interested in reading it. Well, one does, but she's Tila, not Tila Tequila, or Tila Tequila, as one of my exes used to call her. Nope, not Tila Tequila. There it is. I'll just say that. She likes to read, but she's also got a backstory. And, well, gee, you wonder why Chris suddenly picked this town that had nothing to do, that was not on any map, had nothing to do with really anything that they were studying. Why would he pick this town? How would he find this town? We find that out in the spoiler section. So, yeah, they couldn't afford much in this, so they just had a few people. And then they had a few extras a little bit later. Here's the thing. This is a low-budget, slow-burn horror movie it's very obvious where the story's going from the very beginning. If you don't understand or get where this story's going within the first 15 minutes, you apparently need to get out more. You need to watch more movies. And you also maybe just are more forgiving of movies than I am. Again, you can do slow-burn, low-budget, small cast horror movies if you have a good idea and you expand on it and you just keep peeling back the layers, or you do it the most boring way possible, like this fucking movie. This movie's not good. It didn't even have the funny lines like Unborn's, haunted uterus or haunted uteri. It didn't even have that funny stuff. No, it just had aggressively boring stuff with a lot of cliches and a lot of characters that just suddenly had backstory shit thrown in. Oh, we're going to have this character do this. This character gets headaches. You go that way. This character goes home. And they go to this town for no reason. Creepy guy named Denver that's obviously some kind of weird, creepy, almost like Spectre type. Not Phil Spector. He didn't have that much hair. But we have a character named Josie without the Pussycats, played by Rachel Tundant. At least I hope I pronounced that name right. She's in love with the teacher. Because why the fuck? You gotta have somebody, when you got a small cast like this, you gotta have somebody in love with the teacher. For no goddamn reason. Also, there's this character named Ross that he's the only other guy there, and he likes to rap. And yeah, rapping. Rapping in the sense that I felt like wrapping something around my skull to basically get the noise out of my fucking head, because this was really fucking bad. I know that the writing was not necessarily supposed to be great, but fucking hell. I have heard better rapping from corpses. I mean, but then again, maybe they just did one take and that's what they went with. This was written by a guy named Spider, with a Y, Dabrowski. So, watching you, Dabrowski, always watching. They get into this town, they check in. The guy named Denver eventually expands on the fact that, yes, there used to be a hanging judge, and there was this woman named Alice that cursed this town. There was a little girl that didn't cry named Lorelei. And there's also this maid named Carrie that Ross fancies. And then there's a whole bunch of other stuff like nooses and bad music, very bad music. Not that the composer probably doesn't have talent, but it's just they probably said, yeah, just crank out some stuff in a weekend. We don't fucking care if it's any good. And from there, we have a movie where Chris has a reason why he's there. Then other people have a reason to be there, because the plot dictates that everybody must make every dumb decision and not just leave. Not just realize that we see this weird, creepy guy named Denver and just fucking leave. Nope, let's stay there for no reason. You could have literally picked a museum to take a field day trip to. But nope, you picked this. Why did they pick this? We find out here in a little bit. I'll get into spoilers here in just about a minute. Essentially, the movie is just aggressively boring and not very well performed. I mean, and then again, you don't really expect much from a channel like Tubi that is a great deal. It's free. You really can't get much cheaper than free unless they pay you for it, and that would have been a terrible business model. And even putting up with the ads, Tubi has some movies that you actually can get some laughs out of, like the aforementioned Unborn. And they're getting into the original content, and it is what it is, and I've seen worse movies, but the biggest indictment is it's aggressively boring, and by the time they get to anything that's a big reveal, you don't fucking care. You don't fucking care at all. You're like, okay, cool, these characters are dying. This character did something stupid. Can we move on already? Oh, we still have 20 minutes left. Oh. So yeah, it's on Tubi if you want to watch it. I'm going to get into spoilers right now, because why the fuck not? Because this shouldn't take much longer. 3, 2, 1, spoilers! Okay, so Chris wanted to go back to this town because the aforementioned Alice and Lorelei. It turns out that he was actually related to Alice. She was his great-grandmother. The one that cursed the town was a great-grandmother. I place a curse on you. I curse you, Teardrop. I curse you. And Denver is also a ghost. And Carrie the maid is also a ghost. Everybody's a ghost. Including the people that were trying to act here. I think they were all dead inside and outside, and possibly in any other possible side that they could have fucking had. There's no ingenuity. There's nothing good about this. Chris keeps getting headaches every time he drinks, or just because convenient plot device. And Chris ends up eventually getting possessed. And because there was this hanging judge that killed his own daughter, Lorelei, because she wouldn't cry, and he was also a drinker. And Chris is a writer and writes this really good story, but then he ends up killing one of his students at the end. And Denver tells him, I told you to leave before it was too late, and you didn't fucking listen. And Denver recognized him right away because he's like, yes, you're your grandfather. Because grandfather as a kid was sent away in a basket, down a river, over the hill, through the woods, down the river, to grandmother's house we go, hey, hey. Away from great-grandmother. Also, there were some, glowing eyes to indicate there were haunted hell dogs because people would chain dogs up around the entrance to the mine because there was gold in them there hills, and then they left the dogs to rot. Okay. Carrie also was every single ghost because she was considered a freak, and she ends up killing Ross. I would have too, for the terrible rapping and everything. And the movie just ends up agonizingly stretching along a story that didn't have that much. Go bonkers and go fun. There's nothing wrong with trying to be a little bit serious if you have something good to be serious about. If you just have a story like this, nobody's going to fucking care. Nobody's going to care one bit. The whole romance between Rebecca and Chris was so goddamn forced. Josie being the town S, or the class S as it were, the class Hewer as it were. I'm choosing my words carefully to cover my ass. And then there was one point where the students got high and everything and then saw some glowing-eyed dogs. But then it was like, no, they're just... there's nothing in there, just barn mice. Yeah, barn mice from hell. Barn mice from hell. Okay, maybe there was one funny line in this. And then, bad music and bad stuff all around. And Chris eventually ends up snapping. Rebecca gets killed. It turns out that since he's related to this whole thing, he He's just like the hanging judge, you know, the father and everything, the great-grandfather, and he ends up hanging himself, and he dies, and nobody fucking cares because this movie's fucking bullshit. God damn it, it was all bullshit. It was boring. Really fucking boring. So yeah, there pretty much isn't really anything here that's left to say because it was just boring and bland and everything, and I fucking hated it. And it's one of the worst movies of the year by far. Probably it might actually be above Unborn. Because while it was a little bit better made, it was also more boring and more annoying and everything. And every character was really dumb and there was no haunted uteri line. So that automatically disqualifies this movie from, well, being anything other than a snooze fest. So yeah, agree, disagree with what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.